slow me down or stop me now. The hand of God won't be refused. Resist and rest assured, I'll bring it down. I'll make you wish you...
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Paranormal Rush Hour. I'm your host, Ryan Rush, and tonight I'm going to be talking about my own personal ghost stories. Um, I just decided that I'd like to talk about this because, um, you know, uh, I have always had an interest in the paranormal, and it's not just because it's a neat subject. Uh, it's mostly because I've always kind of searched for answers in a way, I guess. Um, Things have always occurred with me. I don't know why, but it's just always been that way. And like I've just been prone to seeing things, I guess, or having these experiences. And I don't know why. I used to think it was like normal, that it was something that everybody experienced a lot of, but it's not. When I got older and met more people and realized, through conversations and stuff, that most people, if they have had any kind of experience, it's just like a one-off type thing, or they haven't had a lot of them, or something like that. That's usually the case. But I don't know. With me, for some reason, it started early, and um, it pretty much just continued on, and I really don't know why. But that's just how it's been for a long time. So anyway, um, that's what I would like to discuss tonight. Uh, I've been hearing like some crazy stuff lately. Um, I was watching this thing actually, and this is kind of neat. I want to talk about this for a minute. The Amazon. They're saying like, okay, the Amazon used to be as populated as like these like large cities and stuff. Like there were large scale cities in the Amazon, like civilizations. And oh, it's crazy. They've found now that all this forest has gotten like dozed away, like cleared away. They've uncovered all these structures and stuff, like all this stuff that was built. These It's just crazy, and the scale is just unreal. They're saying that there were at one time like 20,000 people that lived there, which is insane if you ask me. But I mean, that's a lot of people. 20,000. I know 20 million. 20 million people. Yeah, 20,000. Anyway, now I'm tripping. But yeah, 20 million people. That's a lot of people. I mean, a lot. But they were, saying like, how did they feed all those people? Well, they invented, because the soil there is evidently like very infertile. Once you clear things away, it's like just done pretty much. So they were wondering how they fed all these people, and turns out there's this soil that they invented that's like super fertile, and you can add it to infertile soil as like an additive, and it automatically makes it like just super, like viable. It's just insane, man. And this is all like ancient stuff. Like this is way a long time ago that this all happened. It's really crazy. I, I couldn't believe that. I don't know. I just wanted to share that with you guys because I thought it was very interesting. Um, anyway, there's a lot more about it too, and about the things that they found in these, like, I don't know, these civilizations and stuff. The things that they found traces of like dimethyltryptamine, which is no, tryptamine or whatever, which is DMT, basically, the spirit molecule. Is what they call it. Which I saw that documentary. It was very, very good. Actually, I do recommend everybody going out and checking that out. I saw it on Netflix a while back, so you can probably still see it there. I would imagine it's really good. Okay. Anyway, Um, let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I was going to share with you guys real quick that I don't know. I do want to tell you about this. This is crazy. Now, this is what it's like living in Sasquatch land, basically. You I go outside my studio here, um, doors right there. I go outside to relieve myself, and because I'm out in the country and I'm a dude, and you can do that here, no problem. Nobody cares. No one sees you. Uh, well, I don't think anyone does. But this was crazy. As soon as I opened the door, I saw over in the woods. The woods are like right there. There's a cleared area right in front of this building right here. Okay, but the woods start like, yeah, I'd say probably 100, 150 feet down that way. Well, there's a hill over here too, a little small one, and the tree line over here. When I opened the door, there was a like a flash of light, like not like a bright light or anything. It almost looked like a firefly, but uh, it was a white color, not the color of a lightning bug. It was like white light, like a flash of white light, almost like looked like a star for a second. Like it was really crazy, and I've seen that before, um, a few times actually. But I just thought that was neat, and I wanted to share that with you guys. That's the kind of stuff that happens all the time. And all I did was open the door and walk out, and I saw that immediately. Like almost like I might have startled something when I opened the door. I don't know, but it was off a little ways, but it was crazy. Those are the kinds of things that I see out here all the time. I mean, it's just the way it is when you got them around. You see this stuff, and that's what really uh, gives you a lot of your affirmations on things when you see this kind of stuff. The kind of stuff that it leaves you scratching your head a little bit, like what did I just see? That kind of thing. That happens a lot, and uh, there's not much you can do about it, really, except learn from it. All right, let's get into why um, why I'm doing a paranormal podcast. Let's call it that. I might name the show that. I don't know. No, not really. That sucks. But anyway, okay. Check this out. Imagine, okay, when you're 7 years old, all right, you're laying in your bed and you're just barely awake. You're like right on the verge of being asleep. Okay. And forever and a day, you have always gone to sleep with your arm just hanging off the side of the bed like that. Okay. Well, that's what I did one night. Okay. My arm was just hanging off, dangling off the side of the bed. And I was just like right almost asleep. And something comes up and grasps my hand. I mean, like, grasps my hand and lets go. Like, quick. Like that. They grabbed it. Okay. No mistake. I shot up out of that bed and took off. I mean, tore ass into my mom and dad's room and was like flipping out. I want to say I refused to go sleep in my room that night. And to this day, I won't sleep on the side of the bed closest to the door. I won't do it. Haven't done it since then. since that day, haven't done it. Anywhere I've been, I've always avoided sleeping on that side of a bed. I sleep closest to the wall for that reason, because that's where I was that night. So that started it right there. I knew that wasn't a normal thing. Okay, something happened and I knew it. And that's what got me going pretty much on it ever since. Okay, I mean, and my dad was always interested in this stuff too. I mean, he was always more into like the UFO thing and stuff like that, but he never dismissed any of the paranormal stuff. But I was, into the whole ghost thing pretty heavily for a long time when I was younger, and that's why. I mean, that's why. And that's not the only thing, that occurred. There are other things that happened, but that was the thing that started me on the. I mean, I can't recall anything earlier than that, but that right there is one of the things that happened that I couldn't explain, and I knew what it was that did it. I just knew. I can still remember how it felt. It was just crazy. It was crazy. Okay, so from about 7 years old, I'm pretty sure I was about 7 years old. Was not old at all. I was a kid. I was a little kid. So I know that. No older than 8 at the oldest, and that's if I'm grossly misestimating my age at that time. Okay, so that happened. Okay. So then when I was about, I can't remember if I told you guys this or not. I'm going to tell you again though, anyway. Um, I don't know what this was. When I was young, okay, about 10 or so probably, I think it was about 10, my mom had left me alone, or she was going to leave me alone and go to run to the store real quick or something. And of course, I was like 10 years old and I was by myself. So, and no one else was at my house. So, it was cool. And of course, this was like, early 90s. So who cares? But anyway, I think I was around 10, no older than 11. But my mom, I remember she left, and as soon as I like was watching TV. I think we had like satellite TV because we lived out in the sticks, and we back then, you couldn't get like normal people cable and like out there at all. So that was one of the prices to pay for living out like that. Back then, it was way more off grid, but it wasn't that far out. You know what I mean? It was like places that weren't that far out were still pretty off grid. Like it's really crazy how things have changed in that respect. But anyhow, so she left me at home, and I I saw the TV like go to, and this is something you don't see much anymore. That static screen, the one where the snow screen, where it was just a bunch of static, and the gray screen, whatever. Everybody knows that screen if you're around. Um, if you were around CRT TVs back then, I don't even know if these new TVs will do that. But I haven't seen that screen in a long time. Anyway, but that screen, most people can relate to it. That one came on like the channel went out or something. Okay, and something comes up from the top corner of the TV, and it comes around and down and gets bigger and comes up like that to about the center of the TV on the other side. I was like, and it was like a face, like, but it didn't look like a normal face. It was like a lion looking kind of face. Like, Oh, it was so weird, man. Oh, I mean, like I can remember it almost like there was a beard of some kind and like hair like all around. Like oh, it was just weird, and I couldn't figure out what it was. Like I was like, "What is this? What am I watching? What is this?" And like it flipped me out. I was a kid, man, 10 years old. Like tripped me out. I took off out of the freaking house, man. I wouldn't even stick around in there. And I remember like because this happened right after my mom left, I could still hear, which we had a long driveway, but I could still hear her tires going down the driveway. I was like, oh man, I did not want to be there. So anyway, I think I stood outside until she came back, until she got home. I'm pretty sure I did that. I don't know what that was, but it was crazy. And I'm not saying that was a ghost or anything. I don't know what that was. To be completely honest, I don't know what happened. Like, never seen anything like it in my life after that or before that. And I've never even heard of anything like that. So, if any of you guys have heard of anything like that, please tell me. I mean, that's something that I would love for someone else to have experienced so they could relate to what I'm saying. Like, I would love to know. Okay, please, someone tell me if someone else has seen something like that. Anyway, all right, back to my stories. The next one, when I was about 12 or so, my mom and I were driving back from I think dropping like a friend of mine off who had spent the night with me or something. And we were driving back on the road, and there was this old country road that we lived on, and like pretty rural, not crazy, like way out or anything, but back then it was further out than it is now because everything's expanded a lot. But anyway, we were driving there and we came up on this intersection, and I saw a man cross the road. And this was like about probably 9:30, 10 at night. Okay, it shouldn't have been an old man crossing the road. It was an old dude. I remember he had like a flannel shirt, but he was all white. That's the thing. I remember seeing it, and I remember my mom telling her, and she never doubted me with things like that. For some reason, I guess she could tell that, I was being real with it. Um, Most people probably could, but if I told them, which I didn't divulge that to many people, trust me. Anyway, I just remember seeing that too. Okay, so that was like the second, or wait a minute. That was probably the first time I saw one. Yeah, I think so. That I can remember. Anyway, another thing. Okay, probably about when I was about 13 and a half or so. Uh, I think I'm trying to remember exactly how old, but I want to say it was around then, around eighth grade, maybe. I think around eighth grade. Um, my best friend Brian, which some of you guys know who I'm talking about. He's on quite a few of my Frosted Forest Sasquatch videos, my night investigations especially. He's one of the only dudes crazy enough to go out there with me at night. But anyway, and one of the only people I trust out there. Uh, anyway, Brian had been telling me that he had an uncle who died. Okay. And he had been telling me that he had been seeing his uncle's ghost coming to him. at night. Like he would just come over there and like stand there and watch him at night, like sleeping in his room and stuff. Like Brian said, he'd wake up and he'd be standing right there by like the foot of his bed. Brian always had a box fan going in his room when he slept from the probably from the time he was born. Nah, I'm just kidding, but for real, like the dude always had one. It didn't matter winter, summer, didn't matter. He always had one going. And so he said he'd be standing there and he always had it sitting on a chair that was in his room. And it was always facing his bed. And he said that he was always standing right there by the chair that his fan was on. And Brian, back then, kids can tell tall tales, and Brian was one of those people with a vivid imagination. Okay, so you know, I have to admit, like I was skeptical of it. I didn't know whether to believe him or not, to be honest. And at first, and I was like, but he was adamant that this was happening, and it happened a long time, and he didn't ever let up with it. He always told me about it, and I mean, it was like it happened all the time. So he uh, was over at my house one night, one weekend, and I remember it was warmer outside. I can't remember if it was like spring or fall, but in Alabama they're about the same, so one or the other doesn't matter. Anyway, we were out swinging on. We had a porch swing out at my house, and it's just to give you an idea. The house was like right here. Okay, corner here. There was a porch right here. Okay, and the porch swing was about right here, hung between two trees, and there was like a concrete slab with basketball court and stuff like that. But the porch swing was right by it. Okay. And in reference to the house, it was right in the corner. Now, this is important. That's why I'm showing you this. There was a walkway on the side of the house. Okay. Met the porch right here at the corner. While we were swinging back in that swing, I saw right out of the corner of my eye over my shoulder his uncle standing right there at the corner of my house on the walkway, right at the corner where the walkway met that porch. And the porch had a balcony above it, so it was like covered. More like a two-story porch on like half of the house. So anyway, just to give you an idea of what it looked like, he was standing there all white. And I want to say he had a hat on. I think I remember him having a hat on. And Brian said he always had a hat on. That's how I knew it was him. And I know I remember like the shirt, the way it looked. I remember everything. And I only saw him for like that. I mean, like a split second. Got a great look in a split second. It's crazy how that happens too with them. You can see them for a split second, and you get the best look at them. like you're looking at them for way longer. It's so strange. Other people who have seen it, I'm sure, know what I'm saying about that. It's very strange. Sorry, guys, I keep having to wet my whistle because throat's getting dry still because pollen hasn't let up much lately. Anyway, so yeah, that happened, and I stopped swinging immediately, and I was like, Brian, I was like, dude, I said, man, I just saw your uncle. I was like, look just like what you said, man. He was like, dude, I told you. I was like, dude, I'm sorry, man, that I ever had any doubt about it. I said, if I had, which I didn't, completely doubt him about it, but, when you're that age, it's hard to believe everything like that. But I told him, I was like, man, I'm sorry if I ever doubted you about it. Like, I was like, dude, I was like, yeah, you were telling me the truth. And he was. absolutely telling me the truth 100%. So it's crazy. I mean, don't dismiss everything that people tell you because shit, you never know when you're going to get proven wrong. I mean, there you go. There's a prime example right there of why you don't do that. Anyway, okay, so I mean that was crazy though. That really was. Um, that was the one. I mean, that was like when I was old enough to know exactly what was going on, and I saw it so clearly, and I know 100% what I saw. There's no mistaking it. No mistaking it at all. I know what I saw, and um, that's when I knew for sure stuff like that happens. I mean, I'd seen the other stuff, but I was a kid and I had almost kind of convinced myself that I had an imagination problem or something. Maybe my imagination, which it was wild as hell, but maybe it was a little too wild or something. And I convinced myself of things, but nah, that wasn't it. That wasn't it at all. That was just me trying to rationalize things in an illogical way, or an irrational way, I guess. Anyway, enough of that crap. Um, I think the next thing I'm going to tell you guys about, uh, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and tell you about this. This is crazy. All right, so I was obsessed with stuff, you know, when I wouldn't say obsessed, but extremely interested in, paranormal stuff back when I was younger. Um, you know, I used to love like unsolved mysteries and stuff, especially when they had the ghost stuff on. And then the X Files, was a show that was very popular back then, and that didn't do anything but fuel the fire with me. So I was always into trying stuff and doing crazy stuff, like messing around with Ouija boards and uh, things like that, stuff that young people do anyway, but I might have taken it to a little more of an extreme than some people. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I did anything bad or tried to do anything harmful to anyone or myself or try to, I was always had a benevolent purpose, but it's not something I should have messed with. I know that. But anyway, one of the more safe things I always figured was the automatic hand, automatic writing. So anyway, I always thought that that was one of the more tame ways of doing it, and it really is essentially. So I was with a buddy of mine, and we were young too, probably like 14 or so. Seemed to be 13, 14, around the age when I was really like into studying all this stuff and you know all that crap. So anyway, like all kinds of crazy occult stuff and just whatever. It all interested me. I frequented the New Age section at the bookstore and all that. But anyway, yeah, Ryan reads books sometimes. But a friend of mine, okay, we decided that we were gonna try the automatic writing, and this dude was just a straight up no BS kind of dude all his life. He wasn't anyone that was ever messing around with anything like this, and I mean, it was totally my influence that got this going, but he agreed to it because it wasn't anything too crazy. And I told him, I said, you just start writing stuff. If you do, you do, and if you don't, you don't. And that's the way it goes. And I was like, it usually starts off as like little scribbles and stuff like that. And anyway, his hand, like after about a minute, or nah, it was probably about 3 or 4 minutes. We were just sitting there, and and his hand started like scribbling a little bit. And then he like just put the pen down and he started crying, like tears coming out of his eyes, and started saying the girl is dead and stuff. And like, what happened to the girl? The girl's dead. I was like, what the fucking crap's happening here? It was crazy. So I didn't know what happened. And I was like, that just seemed just crazy, man. And I was like, I said, dude, like, what in the world is going on? I was like, dude, stop, and he just kind of stopped, and that was it, really. I mean, that was really it. Like, he kind of just came to, and that was that. He didn't really even remember what happened. So we stopped messing with that crap. Right then, I was like, nah, we're not going to do that anymore. And I didn't do anything like that until I was much older. Uh, anyway, so that was one of the other experiences that I've had with things. And that's not the only one. But that's one of the ones I'll tell you about. And I'm going to save those other ones that are along those lines, more relevant to contacting and stuff, for when I do a show on that. Actually, that topic, it'll be more pertinent then. So, these other stories. But anyway, there's a place that I worked that I'd like to talk about. Um, this is crazy. Like, okay, this was someone's house, okay, and I did like non-medical home health care stuff for a while. Like I didn't, you know, do any kind of medical stuff as far as like wound care or anything like that goes. Um, just like a caretaking kind of thing. And anyway, yeah, I did that for a while because of the hours and stuff, and I was self-employed, so it worked out really good for the way things were at the time in my life. And so anyway, and it was really decent money. So anyway, I worked at this house. Okay, it was this guy who was a prominent figure in a city at one time. And anyway, he was in pretty bad shape with like dementia and stuff, and had all that going on, health issues going on. He was in his 70s, and like I want to say earlier 70s though, not too old. I don't remember though. May have been later 70s. But anyway, the house he lived in, okay, had so much crazy stuff going on. He had had so many people in his life pass away, like his family. He had one kid out of four that was one. He had four boys at one time, and one of them was alive, is still alive. His wife passed away before he did, and so there was a lot of that in his life. Excuse me. Anyway, there was a lot of that going on, and I'm not gonna say anything else about anything, but it was just crazy, and he had a kind of a crazy life anyway. But um, this house, man, the stuff that happened there. Like the first night I was there, okay, there was a recliner that we would, whoever was there at the time would sit in when we weren't doing anything, and we'd watch TV or whatever. And it was like the TV right over there to the side of the recliner, which faced kind of like I'm sitting now. toward the kitchen. Say like the camera is the kitchen, I'd be facing like straight toward it. And anyway, this was nuts. Like I was sitting there one night with my hand up over the back of the recliner like that, and something comes up and taps my hand, like unmistakably taps my hand. And I jumped up and I looked behind me and I was like, I mean, the recliner was like that far away from the wall, so what? You know, who's gonna be back there? Okay, for real. Nah, man. So anyway, that was the first thing that happened. Okay. Um, After that, uh, I was telling one of the women who worked there, who came in before I did. Um, I came in to relieve her. Uh, I was telling her about it, and she was telling me about some other stuff that happened, that she like hear noises and stuff and doors close and things. And anyway, that what's really crazy though is that when I was telling her about what happened to me, we were standing in the patio area, and there was like a storm door right there, a screen, or I mean like glass, storm door, and something popped the door, like hit the door. We were standing right there by it. We both looked fast, like, what was that? Nothing was there. So, okay. So somebody else knew, that there was stuff going on, and they didn't doubt anything I'd said because of what they had experienced themselves. So anyway, time went on, and things would happen. I'd hear noises. I would hear doors shut. That when no one else was in the house except me and the dude asleep, because I'd worked there at night a lot. And so I was like, well, you know, something is definitely up with this house. So one night I came in, okay, and there was his wife's room bed. There was a bedroom at the end of the hallway, at the very end, and it was a room that his wife had like basically used for a closet. I mean, she had tons of clothes in there, makeup and stuff like that, and it was all still set up in there, racks of clothes and all that. But she had, I mean, the the room really like didn't have a whole lot of room because of all the clothes and stuff, and no one would have any reason to be back there. I mean, there wasn't anything for anybody back there of interest. So, um, anyway, like I came to work one day and the door was cracked open to that room about that far, and the light was on in the room. And I was like, well, that's weird. And I said, well, maybe somebody needed to go back there or something. I keep hitting a microphone and it's crazy in my monitor. Sorry if I made a weird face, but anyway, I was like, and well, why in the world would somebody be going back there? So anyway, I said, well, I got to go check on him in a little bit, so I'll just wait and go turn the light off when I go back there to check on him, because his room was right there by the end of the hall. Like his room was like right here, and then that door was on down a couple feet right there at the end. So I was like, well, I'll just turn off the light and shut it then. So I get ready to go back there and check on him, and I get up and the door's shut and the light's off in that room. Because you could see the light. If it was on, you could see the light under the door. There was, a good gap. It's off. I didn't know what to do about that, so I just kind of, went on my way. Anyway, so that happened. Another night, okay, the only living son's girlfriend, who handled most of the business with his dad, um, concerning his dad, she came by the house, and she was, when I had gotten there, there was another lady there, and I don't know who had done this, but someone had left the door. There was a door, like the house was kind of split. Like there was one section that was the kitchen and like a little den area. And then there was a brick wall that separated another section of the house that was like ugh, the front door. And it almost looked like a funeral parlor in this front part of the house. It was like old school antique stuff everywhere and just crazy looking, like Victorian looking crap or something. But anyway, it was like two separate things, but there were like glass panel doors, one by the refrigerator in the kitchen and one over here by the hallway, right as you went into the hallway from the den area. Okay, so these two doors led into that room. Well, that room always stayed so cool in there. Like it was always cold in that room for some reason. I mean, even during the summertime. Yeah, I mean, I worked there summer, winter. It was always cold no matter what. So, which was weird, but anyway, during the summer or when the house would get warm, they would open the door and put a fan by it and let the cool air blow out. Well, someone had done that, okay, and this door was not one of those doors that you could just like shut. You had to like take it, pull it to, and then pull it to again even further to get it to latch, to get the knob to actually latch. So you had to like put some ass into it to get it to close and stay closed. Well, anyway, the dude's girlfriend came over there, and we were talking, and we went outside and had a smoke, and she and then she left, and I had mentioned something about the door. I was like, yeah, this door was open. I was like, but it's freezing, in here. I just hadn't gotten around to shutting it yet because I hadn't been there that long. And anyway, um, so we go out the patio, and she leaves, and I go back in, and the door is freaking shut. I was like, no freaking way is that door shut. And anyway, oh yeah, it was really weird too because I had just been telling her about somebody who said they had seen something in there. And right after, she told me that sometimes she'll look, they had cameras up in the house because he had dementia and stuff, and they had people in there out there all the time. So they had cameras up, and she said sometimes she would look and see someone standing by the refrigerator, but she always thought it was just me or somebody who was there um, at night. So it was weird though that she said right there by the refrigerator, and that's exactly where that door was. So anyway, that occurred, and it was really weird because a couple days after that, I was um, sitting in the recliner, and um, it was, well, actually before that, I'd forgotten about this that day. Before that, the old man was sitting in the living room with me before he went to bed, and he put his hand up and was talking to somebody, and he was like, "Hey, well, how you doing? Well, I ain't seen you in a long time," and like somebody he knew. But no one was there that I could see. And I was like, well, this is odd. And it was right in the direction of the refrigerator where that door is. So, anyway, after he had gone to bed that night, I think I dozed off in the recliner. Well, I wake up, just randomly wake up, and as soon as I open my eyes, I see somebody standing right there by the refrigerator, right between the refrigerator, which is right here by the wall, and that door, which is like right here. They were standing right there in the corner of the refrigerator and the door. And it was a woman. I could see that all white. Um, I could see details, long hair, and kind of flowing clothing. It was interesting. I saw it for, about a second or so, like 1/100 is about the look I got. And then it was gone. She was gone. Come to find out, though, his wife died in that room, the one that was split off from the kitchen. I don't know. I don't know who it was, but I know that much is true. Oh, man. Anyway, so apart from things happening in this house I lived in for a long time as a teenager, which I always got weird feelings in the whole time I lived there and saw things the whole time I lived there. Just things out of the corner of my eye and stuff like that. There's other things I could talk about, noises, things moving, all that stuff, but I wanted to get to the things that I've actually physically seen with my own two eyes. And 3 times I've seen an apparition that I can completely remember 100%. No question, you know. So that's where I'm at with that. Those are my ghost stories. Um, you guys can see uh, why I'd have a certain affinity for learning about this stuff and desire to do so. Um, when you live it, when you've experienced it all your life, and um, there's a reason, I'm sure. I mean, I guess I'm just maybe on a different vibration than other people. Who knows why it happens, but it does happen. And certain people are more prone to certain things. And I guess seeing weird shit is one of the things that I'm prone to. I'm guessing. So, anyway, I guess I'm going to wrap it up. Think you've heard me clearing my throat and coughing and stuff long enough. So anyway, I really appreciate everybody watching. I'm so stoked about it. You guys, I mean, I can't believe how many views I've had just in a week. Like, and it's just amazed me. And I've I reached 100 subscribers in like 5 days, I think. Maybe less. I don't remember, but it wasn't very long, and I just can't thank you guys enough. I really can't. That shows me so much support, and I appreciate it so much, so much. Um, it's just one of those things that makes you feel good when people are interested in what you're saying, I guess, and enjoy what you do, and makes you want to keep doing it. And I really hope that it just continues like it is, and and everyone keeps sending me the emails. And I didn't share any tonight. I wanted to, but I have another show coming up that I got some emails that are good to share for it. So I'm gonna hold off on that, on the ones I have right now. But guys, please send me more. I need them. I need emails. I need stories to share. I always want to share your stories. You can also go to my Facebook page, Paranormal Rush Hour. Just search it and you'll find it, and go like it. And I'm always posting stuff and updates and pictures and things, stuff like that. So, just go check it out if you want to. And you can always leave me a message there. I do check the messages there every few days or so. I try to remember to. But anyway, if not, you can always send it to paranormalrushhour@gmail.com. And you can always reach me at frostedforestsasquatch@gmail.com. Those two, I do check those two email addresses. Let's see what else. Anyway, I think that's probably about it. About all I was going to announce. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm going to be back with you guys really soon. And I've got guests lined up. I've got a telephone guest caller lined up. And I'm going to be testing that out to see how that goes. So wish me luck on that one, because it's always some kind of plethora of issues that arises. But I work through them, and I persevere, and I never relent, and never give up. And that's the way we do it here at the Paranormal Rush Hour. All right, guys. Till next time. Have a good one.